see you again.
Always a pleasure.
This is nice. This is nice. All right, here we go. Counting down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome into Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, where the Navy midshipmen are set to kick off against number 22 Air Force. He's Keith Mills of the Navy Radio Network. And Keith, what an opportunity for Navy today.
Absolutely, great opportunity, Luke. That's exactly what this is. Man, not a lot of people around the country are thinking Navy can beat this team. Air Force ranked 22nd in the country and are steamrolling teams offensively, play stout defense, loaded with experience. But Navy playing the best football of the year. Another shutout last week against Charlotte. And it's interesting, Luke, every year when either Ken Niumatalolo or Brian Newberry, Paul Johnson, who's here today being honored, whoever the coach is, sits down and says, here are our goals. First goal is to beat Army. Second goal, win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. Third goal now, win the American Athletic Conference, then go to a bowl game. All 4 of those goals are still alive. And if they can win this game today and get the first leg of the CIC under their belt, not only does it set the tempo for the rest of the season, but it also will set up an unbelievably important game against Army next month.
You mentioned the Hall of Fame coach Paul Johnson in attendance today, as well as the 1963 football team for their 60th class reunion. Coach Johnson will interview with us in the second quarter. We're going to have that up on the Navy Athletics YouTube page later this weekend, so that's a little tease for you.
Oh, man, Paul Johnson, revolutionary in what he did.
A revolutionary, and a little drama behind today's game for both option teams, with Air Force quarterback Zach Larrier originally anticipated to be out for this game, and now Brent Brigham of the Colorado Springs Gazette says he is healthy and expected to play.
Isn't that shocking that they're fifth year, not graduate, they don't have graduate students, but they do have fifth-year seniors at Air Force and Army. Navy does not, and that's a big difference. But yeah, Larrier, as of Thursday, it looked like he was definitely going to be out. Jensen Jones, his backup, was going to start, and magically this morning, that has all changed. The wonders of modern medicine, I guess, right?
The subversion tactics you would find in a military school.
Yes. Great point, yeah. Decoys and undercover and all those things that you read and hear about in the military. I don't know if that's really undercover, but you know what? If he's playing, hey, you take their best shot and you try to beat him with him or without him.
Navy has a quarterback situation of its own. Quarterback Ty Lavatai went down with a rib injury in the Charlotte game. Freshman Braxton Woodson filled in adequately, led the team to a victory. Right now, Coach Newberry tried to be a little bit shady, a little bit behind the curtain as well, but either way, Navy is primed to follow the cadence of whatever quarterback they choose.
Yeah, you know, Ty's going to try to go. You know, he bruised some ribs last week, was taken out early. Braxton came in, thrown into the fire against a very, very stout, athletic, and aggressive defense last week against Charlotte. Struggled before halftime, and I'll tell you what, after halftime, Luke, as you saw, his command of the offense was night and day in regards to the first half. I don't know if it was just maybe he was able to relax a little bit, understand that, hey, it's still just a football game. It's like playing Pop Warner or high school or whatever. Just go out and make plays. And, man, did he make some in the second half. The 69-yard pass to Eli Heidenreich, the catch and run after that, was one of the great plays in recent Navy history. Add to that, and we're looking at Riley Reithman right now, who right now is probably one of the 2 or 3 best punters in the country, special teams player of the week at the American Athletic Conference. And then you had Alex Teska busting off a big touchdown run, which kind of put the game away for Navy. But give Braxton a lot of credit. The freshman from Southern Maryland came in under some tough circumstances, matured right before our eyes, and really did a great job not only of orchestrating the offense, but busting on a couple of big runs, which puts the game away in the second half.
Another key difference for Braxton Woodson in that second half was quarterback coach Ivan Jasper coming down from the press box to sit with him and go over plays, draw up plays on a whiteboard. You got 20 years of experience from Coach Jasper.
Absolutely.
Rather than that dial-up telephone going up and talking to people in the press box. I mean, what a resource to have Coach Jasper here.
Yeah, we talked to Braxton about that after the game, you and I did, and it was interesting where he said, you know what, it's different when you're looking at a coach's eyes. You can see his body language, and then he's scribbling plays on the whiteboard, scribbling defenses, and getting him acclimated with what the keys are sitting there, as opposed to being able to tell him over the the headsets. It's completely different scenario. So hats off to Coach Jasper and Brian Newberry, Grant Chestnut, the offensive coordinator, whoever made the decision for Coach to come down, Coach Jasper, to sit with Braxton between series. Also, Ty Levitine and Xavier Arline came over too, added their kind of input as well. Really, I give them a lot of credit for helping the young freshman really kind of find his footing and really play a solid second half for Navy last week.
I think that's a sign of good team chemistry. We saw it after the home opener when PJ Volker came down from the booth.
Exactly.
And it really helped out the Navy defense moving forward. I think just the in-person communication, you can't get enough of it, and that's really key.
And it's interesting because Coach Volker and Coach Jasper are two completely different personas on and off the field. I mean, PJ's fiery. He's going to get in your face. He's going to let you know what you did well, what you didn't do well, and he's going to do it like you and I here. Coach Jasper, much more reserved, much more subdued, but just as perceptive and as knowledgeable in terms of X's and O's and how to project that to your team. In many cases, freshmen, sophomores, young kids who are still trying to learn their way. And you can't put a price tag on that in terms of the coaching excellence that this staff has.
And if PJ and his wife Amanda watch this after the fact, we know he comes from a place of love. Loves his players. He's an amazing guy.
Coach PJ Volker is one of the great additions that since I've been following Navy football, came in with Brian Newberry back in 2019, and again, added a tremendous amount of perspective in terms of what kind of defense Navy was running and changing into, and also intensity. And sometimes you got to have that fire on the sideline or in practice or in the meeting room. Sometimes the players need it regardless of where you are, whether it's Air Force or Army or Alabama or Navy or Penn State, doesn't matter. You got to have that kind of intensity from your assistant coaches.
It's one of the things I noticed on the sideline, the defensive coaches now with Ricky Brown coaching the outside linebackers, a former NFL linebacker getting in their faces, but from a machismo kind of, you got this, we can do this together, which I think you need from a military school.
Well, it's something they're used to, by the way. It's not unusual for them to get that.
You made reference earlier to Tezca's touchdown, and one thing I thought Charlotte did really well in the last game is they keyed on the fullback, that first option, that first read that either Braxton or Ty made. So they really snuffed out Tezca in that first half. I've asked Coach Newberry about that, and he said, yeah, first we got to give Alex the ball more, but all weapons are a go. Like every possible resource we have, every weapon has to go today, has to be ready.
The Air Force defense overshadowed by the high-powered offense, but their defense, again, loaded with upperclassmen, a couple of five-year seniors, dominated by seniors up front, the first 7 guys up front. They get after. They are the #1 ranked rushing defense in the country. Their tackles for loss leads the country as well. So they are as stout as any team Navy's going to play this year. But that's not unusual for Navy when you play another service academy team. They always get after it at the line of scrimmage. Navy's going to do the same thing on defense as well. But yeah, if you can get Alex and if you can get the pitch game going, all bets are off today because Navy's going to have to possess the ball and keep their offense off the field.
The number 22 Air Force Falcons are the #1 rushing offense in the nation right now. Keith, what is the key to stopping them?
Key to stopping them is stout at the point of attack. I mean, they come after you, and it's nothing fancy. It's option football. Emmanuel Michelle, Owen Buck, their 2 fullbacks are their leading ball carriers. Zach Larrier also can tuck it and run. He can also throw the ball. But they're averaging 334 yards a game. They had 400 yards rushing against San Diego State just a couple of weeks ago. So they're going to come after you. Navy last year did a tremendous job of stopping the option. They lost 13-10. Navy's offense struggled to score. But Brian Newberry's defense on that day 1 year ago up in Colorado Springs did probably as good a job as I've seen defensively against the Air Force in a long time. Navy's defense today will be ready, but you got to win the point of attack.
Picks to click today, offense and defense.
Ooh, man, picks to click today.
Actually, doesn't have to be offense and defense.
I'm going to go the 2 interior middle linebackers, Colin Ramos and Will Harbor, who've been playing lights out. Will Harbor, honorable mention, defensive player of the week this week, 11 tackles last week, a tackle for loss. He has been lights out. Offensively today, I'm going to go on a hunch. This is on a hunch. Braxton Woodson's going to play a lot at quarterback today. He's going to be my key. I don't know if he's starting or not. I don't have any crystal ball, or no one has told me that.
I imagine with the physicality of this game that both quarterbacks are going to get in at some point.
May see Xavier Arline back there as well because he has played in this game before. He knows what it's like to play in a service academy game. So all cards are going to be dealt by Brian Newberry and Grant Chestnut offensively. But, yeah, Ty Levitine's been there as well. So you can't put a value on experience in a game like this.
I think if you and I come back here 6 hours from now and we are referring to this as the Braxton Woodson game, we had a great time.
We had a great time, and it will be a season-changing win, not just for Braxton Woodson, but also for this Navy football program, who, again, coming off 2 straight wins, looking for their first win over Air Force since 2019 when Malcolm Perry was the quarterback, and it'll be interesting to see. And it's ironic that Roger Staubach is also being honored today. You know, a Heisman Trophy winner, one of the great collegiate players ever. He was a sophomore and junior when he beat Army and Air Force. Air Force didn't play at Navy at that time. But now there's a chance that a freshman, when the great Roger Staubach is being honored today, could have a lot to do with who wins this game.
And Roger didn't play as a freshman on the varsity level.
You weren't allowed to back then.
Right.
So he played as a sophomore and a junior and was hurt pretty much his last year. But for those 2 years, beat Army twice and was the collegiate player of the year in 1963. Went on to be a Hall of Famer in the NFL as well, and also is in the College Football Hall of Fame, as will Paul Johnson be in just a few months when he's inducted.
One thing we forgot to mention, and with all the fanfare here, it's probably obvious, this is a sellout crowd today. Every seat is expected to be accounted for. And before I get into my picks, I think it's worth noting just how well the second string, the original second string on offense and defense, really has thrived. Teska started as a second string fullback. Luke Pierce was a second string linebacker. Justin Reed, a second string defensive end with, unfortunately, Jacob Busick out for the season most likely, had to step up. So the amount of depth that this team is starting to show, it feels like this is the precursor to a really breakout performance and breakout season.
No question, and a lot of younger kids are stepping up, getting really their first time of real significant college football action. Listen, Le'Rion Martese went out earlier in the season. He was a senior captain, and the center, Brent Self, has come on and played well for them. You cannot win in college football today without what you call deep depth. That used to be a baseball term. Now it's certainly a football term, and we're seeing it in the secondary. You know, we're seeing Deshaun Peel. We're seeing Andrew Duhart, who has played exceptional football the last couple of weeks. Wasn't really on the radar when the season began. And they're all centered around Ray Lane back there, Rayon Lane, the junior safety, who is having a all-conference kind of a season. Another interception last week. Deshaun Peel had an interception at the end of the game to preserve the shutout. Great point, Luke. You can't win in college football without deep depth.
Rayon Lane would be a safe pick, and you mentioned Le'Rion Martese, the captain. He is chatting with his brother Coco right now in the front row, right by the Bosnia sign.
He was over here playing catch with his brother, playing football, tossing the football around. I said, you still probably have some eligibility to quarterback if you want to come out here, right?
Doesn't this offense have tight ends?
Tight end, absolutely. Oh, can you imagine pulling him down in the open field? Woo!
Maybe we can pitch Bill Belichick on that idea during the Army-Navy game. My pick to click, I think Luke Pierce. He's shown the last couple of games he's been a model of consistency. Just got the right frame for that outside linebacker, Raider position. Then on offense, I think slowly becoming my favorite player on this team, Brandon Chapman. Great out of the slot. Last week was the only game in which he didn't have a play of 10 yards or 15 yards or more, I'm pretty sure. He would have had an 18-yard run, but it got called back for holding. Every day, or before every game, he's got this energy, vivaciousness behind him. His teammates love him. He's got this energy, and I feel that when used correctly, he's a dangerous big play threat.
Yeah, and if they can get the pitch game going with him today, Amin Hassan and the slot backs, man, that will be a real cushion for whoever's quarterbacking today, because that's been a challenge throughout the season. They've had some success up the middle with Daba Fofana and Alex Teska. The pitch game has been hit or miss. If they can get it going today against a real stout defense, that would be a real luxury.
Mm-hmm. Well, what other final thoughts have we got, Keith, in terms of just everything special happening today?
Yeah, this is a great moment for college football. Anytime Service Academy teams play, not only is it great on the football field, but understanding what these kids are doing in the classroom and in the community, and how they've sacrificed a lot of their social life to give back, not just to the schools and the teammates, but to the country. That's what this is all about, man.
An amazing sacrifice. This is exactly what you want, a Commander-in-Chief's trophy, a ranked opponent, a beautiful day in Annapolis, Maryland, and you mentioned the time commitment here. There's no other place that we'd rather be.
No doubt about it. Beautiful day. A little windy today, but the rain is gone here in Annapolis. Gorgeous day. Navy Marine Corps Stadium going to be jam-packed.
Let's take a look at the time we got right now. It is 11 o'clock on the dot. Your pregame show about to tee off on WBAL. Is that correct?
WBAL in Baltimore and the Navy Football Radio Network around the world.
All right, he's Keith Mills of the Navy Radio Network. I'm Luke Slabaugh. Thanks for tuning in. Go Navy and beat Air